level.
Damn, you played 37 minutes.
I mean, you played a lot too, Kels. You played 35. I mean, yeah, we're down people, so gotta suck it up, play a little tired a few minutes, and take in those timeouts as best we can. But yeah, I mean, we're down people, so everyone's got to do a little more.
Yeah. For you offensively, was the plan to kind of try and get some looks inside early to get yourself going and then start working from the outside, or is that just kind of how the game set itself up?
Just to read the defense, you know. I think I got some really good passes on the back cuts, and that's a testament to my teammates, you know, finding me, but keep moving, just reading whatever they're given.
You would think by now the Indiana Fever would have learned how to hold on to a lead, but nope. This team treats a double-digit advantage like it's a Black Friday flat-screen TV. Gone the second you blink. And yet, on a night when the roster looked more like a MASH unit than a WNBA team, one player, Lexie Hull, stepped out of the shadows and delivered the performance of her life. This wasn't just a role player having a hot streak. This was a career-high 23-point outburst in 37 minutes in a game where Indiana was practically begging for anyone, to save them from another second-half meltdown. And for a while, it looked like Lexie might be that someone. Now, don't get it twisted. The news here is brutal. The Fever lost Khloe BBY and Odyssey Sims in the same night, piling onto an injury list that already looks like a CVS receipt. Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, Sydney Colson, Ary McDonald, all gone. That's 6 rotation players missing in the middle of a playoff race. 6. At this point, Indiana doesn't have a rotation anymore. They've got a hope, a prayer, and a clipboard with a lot of crossed-out names. But instead of folding, Lexie Hull walked into the fire like she owned the place. 4 threes, slick backdoor cuts, non-stop energy, and the confidence of someone who finally realized she doesn't have to wait her turn. And here's where it gets spicy, because if you've been following this Fever team all season, you know exactly what's coming. They built a lead. They had momentum. Fans were standing up, screaming, "This might be the night." And then third quarter. The same third quarter that's haunted this team like a bad ex-Minnesota outscored them 32-7, flipped the game upside down, and reminded everyone why Indiana can't have nice things. And you can point to injuries all you want, but when the same script plays out game after game, fans start looking at the director, not the cast. That's where head coach Stephanie White comes in, because once again, the adjustments weren't there. Let's be real. Minnesota didn't pull off some galaxy brain scheme here. They spread the floor, drove straight lines, and attacked the glass like it was free buffet night. Indiana, meanwhile, was rotating late, boxing out like they'd never heard of the concept, and leaving Aaliyah Boston stranded under the rim against 2 and 3 bodies at a time. And the question everyone's asking is, where were the counters? Where were the tweaks? Where was anything to stop the bleeding before a halftime lead turned into a funeral procession? But let's rewind, because before the collapse, this game had the vibe of something special. Lexie Hull wasn't just scoring, she was dragging her team into belief. 18 points by halftime. Her teammates erupting off the bench every time she knocked down another 3. Kelsey Mitchell slicing through the defense like a hot knife and reminding everyone why the team wore MVP Kelsey shirts pregame. For the first time in weeks, the Fever didn't look like the walking wounded. They looked alive. And that feeling mattered. Fans watching at home could feel the energy. This wasn't garbage time stat padding. This was real, meaningful offense when the game was still in reach. Then reality crashed in. Sims limps off. BBY never even suits up. Suddenly, the Fever are handing the ball to Shea Petty, who is literally signed on a hardship contract and barely knows everyone's names, and asking her to run the offense against one of the best teams in the league. And credit to Petty, she hit some shots. 10 points, 3 threes, a burst of life nobody saw coming. But when your backup plan is throw in the new girl and hope she figures it out, that's not a strategy. That's desperation disguised as a rotation. And here's the paradox. On one hand, you can't help but respect what these players are doing. Kelsey Mitchell dropping 27 with defenses glued to her. Aaliyah Boston grinding out 15 and 6 while fighting double teams without another frontcourt anchor. Hull stepping into a bigger role and delivering when the team had no margin for error. They're giving everything they've got. On the other hand, you can't ignore the repeated storylines. The third quarter collapses, the lack of adjustments, the sense that Indiana is always reacting, never dictating. So, whose fault is it really? Is this a coaching staff frozen when the pressure hits? Or is this a roster so ravaged by injuries that no amount of tactical brilliance could keep them afloat? That's the debate circling Fever fans right now. And honestly, both sides have receipts. The injuries are real, this team is duct taped together, and it shows. But the coaching issues are real too because the patterns don't lie. Still, through all of it, Lexie Hull gave us something different. A glimpse of what could be. A version of herself more than a role player. A potential building block, not just a filler. On a night when the roster was stripped bare, she reminded everyone what confidence, aggression, and resilience look like. And maybe that's the story to hold on to, because the playoff race is slipping fast, and every loss like this chips away at the margin for error. But the Fever's future? It looks just a little brighter if Hull keeps playing like this. Fever fans, here's the real question. Are you blaming the coach, or are you chalking this up to a cursed roster with too many injuries to count? Drop your take below. And if you believe Lexie Hull deserves more nights like this, more minutes, more chances, then let's make it clear. Comment Lexie Show. Because in a season of heartbreak, she gave Indiana something worth cheering for. And if you're rocking with this story, stick around, because there's a lot more drama where this came from.